Happy Pride and happy almost 4th of July. Welcome to ATX Event Systems' weekly virtual event. We're starting to see construction at our new South Austin campus come together, so you might hear the beep of a truck or the drop of some gravel, but we are coming to you from our incredible brand new virtual studios. They're pretty cool, huh? Yeah? Wait, what? Ha, you don't believe me, do you? Check this out. As you can see, we are deep in R&D mode with these new technologies to present all of your live events in new virtual spaces and make it look like you are truly a part of the space. This is not just a basic green screen system, and the creative applications are endless. We'll be showing you a bunch of examples over the coming weeks as we continue to explore local Austin musicians and businesses. This week, though, we've got something special for you. It was a huge week in the world of audiovisual, with our industry expo, InfoComm, taking center stage in a 100% virtual format. It was awesome. We're going to recap our highlights for you and also explore how one event owner is shifting his strategy in the world of COVID-19. But let's start with our highlights from InfoComm. First up, the platform. It was a simple interface. It was really easy to use. There was no app download required. The agenda and the keynotes were easy to find, as were all the videos that you wanted to play. Speaking of videos, Dave Labuski's the CEO of Avixa, which is the association that presents InfoComm, started with a really emotional keynote. But what he said was key. He started by saying, "This is an experiment. I'm sure not everything is going to work perfectly," and that was genius. Absolute genius. It took the seriousness out of the delivery of the content. It took ownership over the fact that this is a brand new system of delivering content and things might go wrong, and that is okay. We're going to work through it together. Finding that partnership, it was great. He also said that our industry pulls the levers of content, space, and technology, helping to bring the back of the auditorium to the stage. So, in a sense, our industry, the audiovisual world, the technology world, we're the keys to success in this virtual world. And our opportunity here is to help you shine. He called us your amplifiers and constantly referred to audiovisual as an experience. This ties into our brand new tagline, which is, "We are your story makers." We're a group of craftsmen and women, tinkerers, experimenters, and you know what? At the end of the day, we want to find the best solutions for you. You are the storyteller, but we want to help make it come to life. Moving on, let's talk about the exhibitor layout. It was super fun, and it's a format that we're really excited to launch to you all with our brand new virtual event platform partnership. Say that 3 times twice. Whew! The interactivity for the top tier sponsors with virtual booths was really heightened. There were graphics, clickable animated objects, and just you wait till you see what we can do with you. One particular exhibitor was super exciting to me, and they're called G-SMAT. A terrible, weird name, but their product was awesome. It was incredible. They produce glass LED screens, and it's really helping to bring digital signage into the world of art. And I guess that's what they meant with audiovisual as an experience. Just imagine if we pulled one of those plastic dividers that people are hiding behind right now to protect them from COVID and turned that into a brandable experience. What if there was voice-activated commands? What if they recognized who you were and were able to show you your information on that? I think that's such an exciting thing that could be happening in our space very, very quickly. And finally, esports. That was the hot ticket. And real sports, we've learned, have come to learn from esports, or really have to learn from esports with regards to virtual fan interaction, sponsorship engagement, and just what that overall virtual experience is. What was once a niche market is now being looked to as an industry leader for sports broadcasters. Watch this space as we have some really exciting ideas that are in our R&D engine right now. You might just see them featured here super soon. Overall, it was really exciting and inspiring to see the peak body of our industry tackling the challenges that we are facing head on. It's definitely inspired us to keep pushing forward on our development front to create even better ways for you to engage with your audience. Speaking of which, this week, Norm is talking to one of his clients who built a powerful, outside-the-box event that has become one of the most sought-after tickets in the world of data. They're both going to explore how this flagship event is shifting into virtual, and hopefully give you some food for thought about how your event and your event strategy could benefit for some of this grand thinking. Take it away, Norm. But first, let's take a quick break for some music.
So now we clever, right? We got that tab on it. We call it 35. They sell you sweet dreams. You trying to taste that money? They caught you by the high. So what you gonna do? You jumped up on this new reroute the empire. Lost in translation, huh? Clicked in your own language, but you don't hear the code. Checking by the street lights, trouble on my mind. This is a signal to play. Wait, check your shot, check if you ain't paying attention in the wrong system. So now we clever, right? We got that pep on it. We call it 35. We sold up all the laces. We seen your trees and faces. We on that coolie high, high, high. So what you gon' do? You jumped up on this new reroute the empire, pie, pie. Been checking mail for days, but we ain't seen that bread. We ain't checking for mama. Checking by the street lights, trouble on my mind. This is a signal to play. Wait, stop checking, you ain't paying attention in the wrong system. This is how we're gonna fight. This is our anthem. This is our coming to bed. Walking toward the sunlight, straight up in the moonlight. So what? You all about that money? You really need that dough? You all about that bread? But all you eat, no? You all about that money? You really need that dough? You all about that bread? But all you eat, no? Checking for the street lights, trouble on my mind. This is our signal to play. We wait to kiss your check if you ain't been paying attention in the wrong system. This is how we're gonna fight. This is our anthem. This is our coming back. Walking toward the sunlight, straggles in the moonlight, chasing whatever you see. Morning air. Y'all ready to dance? All right, we do it up. All right, we do it Thank you guys.
What's up, everyone out there?
Hi, internet people.
Now back to our show.
Hey, everybody. I am here with David Isaac of DCAC, really, really good friend of mine and co-founder of a really stellar conference here in Austin. And I take it in the future in a couple more places as well. So David, thank you for joining me. I know you're a super, super busy guy these days, wearing a lot of hats. You got into doing events in a really interesting way, right? And I'm wondering if maybe you can share that story briefly, how DCAC came to be in its current form.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Like Norm said, good friends and looking for a lot of the growth with the ATX team. So, but in regards to how we got started, right, it was really, the event started as more of a marketing event by our founder, Kirk O'Fell, where, we noticed that we were hopping around in different states, right, to visit different conferences. And, really it was for the same purpose of meeting with a lot of our clients. And with those experiences, it came to Kirk that he wanted to start something, not just another event, but something different, right? Where we can still have that same type of atmosphere of being able to connect with your clients, connect with those high-end customers, but in a fun, relaxed feel, and be able to get informed with all the content you're getting across from other events. All right. So in the beginning, I think the first year we roughly had about 100 to 125 people. Next year, it grew rapidly to 220 people, right? Third year, 300. By the fifth year now, we're roughly around 600 attendees and still going strong.
Dude, that's pretty explosive growth for a conference still in some of its early years. I like to think it's because you guys created this kind of anti-conference. You guys definitely do things a little different. Tell us a little bit about what that's meant in the past, and maybe any stories you want to share, crazy things that have happened during the conference.
Yeah. So some of those, you hit it right hit the nail on the head with the hammer, right? It is a different type of event. We used to call ourselves the anti-conference and data center conferences, right? We try to bring, different ideas, some would say extreme to the event, right? To be able to give a fun feel. I think one of the craziest things we've had is Gary Busey joining us for one of our events.
I know some friends that were there, and what a thing to behold, man.
Exactly, right. And, to top that off, we had a concert that night where Gary Busey joined us. The live band was actually the Dan Band, who's came out on a lot of movies as just I would say leading band in the movies, right? But they're also very well known around the world. So Gary Busey actually joined them in the middle of their set and started singing. He took over the mic and just completely let loose with his own verses and lyrics, and it was quite the show, right? So fun experience.
It's the kind of thing people continue talking about, that dine out for months and certainly sign right back up to be a part of it. Next year and the year after that. It seems like that's the case. You guys have been growing like gangbusters. Tell me, what did you think personally when COVID first hit? What was your first inclination what was gonna happen?
Yeah, so I think at first, right, when we heard that different type of restrictions, we didn't expect it to grow or have as much concerns, right? It was more, okay, hey, how can we pivot around this? What are we going to need to do versus scaling back the number of attendees? Maybe finding a larger venue. All right. So we didn't know how to approach it, but we kind of wanted to wait it out to find out more details, hear what was happening, hear the restrictions before we made the next move. And now that we're a little more familiar with it, now we're still trying to strategize on how to still give our attendees the same experience, given the restrictions. So,
your event always had this really special focus on the networking, so much so that that was front and center. That's what it seemed like you almost scheduled around, that, and adding in, concerts and this sort of South by Southwest kind of experience, like almost like a festival rather than a sit-down conference. I remember one year, I think the bars were open at about 10:30, 11 o'clock. There were mimosas and Bloody Marys during one of the keynotes, right? And that's a really interesting challenge that is shared by a lot of our other clients, right? Like, how do you maintain that intimacy and that ability for clients to connect when so much is up in the air? I imagine, like most things, you're going to keep some stuff close to the vest, but if I know you and the conference, if you guys are on pause and waiting to make a decision, it means the machinery is working in the background, and you guys are probably coming up with something that everybody's going to be pretty excited to check out. Let's take a quick pause here. And I'm curious about, because you're a hustler, man, you're always working on multiple fronts. This conference is a bit of a passion project for you, but in your day job, working with data centers, how is that industry that, informs the conference? How has that industry been affected by everything that's going on?
Yes. So I would say my personal experience, really, you don't see the impacts as much, right? If anything, we've seen a growth because of the demand for technology, the usage in just overall, right? Zoom is grown, I think, by 100% of what the revenue was last year, right? So you have a lot of, I'm going to say the best way to do it, you have all this data being processed, right? So now you need these data centers to be up and running at 24/7 without a glitch in it, right? You have everyone dependent on, your network on a day-to-day basis to fulfill your jobs, right? So they've been a lot more of a focus. I think, data centers are being used right now more efficient or more effectively. But overall, I think the growth and demand for the data center industry is trending upwards.
Well, there's a bit of a bright spot then, right? It's always good to hear, there are some industries actually, seeing the bounce from this, and the people who are able to pivot, take this kind of stuff in stride, I think stand a really good chance of coming out of this even stronger than before. I certainly see something similar for your conference, and hopefully for us as a company too. I mean, you've been so successful in running this event, and you're also like wildly successful in your day job. How might you see the future unfolding for conferences and gatherings in general? I mean, I've always appreciated your insight. You always seem to be a step ahead of most people. Is there anything that you've seen in other conferences that strikes a chord? Anything that seems like it might be, getting towards something more cutting edge or more exciting? Something that would work for DCAC.
Yeah. So that's a challenging one, right? That's the biggest thing. Like we mentioned before, the one of the biggest or one of the most interesting things about our conference is the continuous networking that we try to provide, right? The type of environment that we try to place our attendees in, so they're in a comfortable, fun environment with someone, at the executive level that otherwise it's hard to chase them down, right? Or, you're in a work setting. Here at the conference, they're in a comfortable setting. So we don't want to take away from that specifically, right? It's going to be challenging to be able to still kind of create that atmosphere given the situation or given our restrictions. But one of the things that I've seen that I think is really interesting is this, I think I might have shared this with you, for virtual conferencing, right?
Yeah.
Where, maybe the next 5 to 10 years where you'll actually be, having HoloLens on and you can walk in through a virtual event, right? Where you can see at the top of my head, you can see my name at the top of your head. Y'all see, it's Norm, right? With the ATX event systems, your position, right? Where you can actually walk up to someone, and through that conferencing, you can actually pull them aside into a private chat room, or just be, yourself and myself chatting away till we're available again, and then we go back into the conference, right?
I knew it. I knew you would be thinking about like, how far can we take this thing and get super cutting edge? I knew it. So you're talking about a fully virtual, like immersive experience that's like almost gamified, and then you even allow for that ability to walk up to a CEO, say, "Hey, how you doing? Let's talk business." So you're retaining that cutting edge thing you guys have already done, and you're finding a way for networking to happen for sponsors. I know you're cooking up some ideas in the back, man.
Yeah, there's all types of stuff, right? So
don't give away all the all the way now. There'll be plenty of time to roll this stuff out, and we've certainly been looking at all kinds of like really, really exciting stuff. A lot of green screen work, a lot of like really immersive environments, how to really up the ante and get away from, you know, what is a little bit of Zoom fatigue. You're working from home right now. I'm working from home. We're all seeing that. So I think everybody out there be pretty excited to see what's on the forefront this year, next year, and hopefully we can retain some of that stuff moving forward, and folks can start to grow their audiences beyond, you know, a singular geographic area. You know, maybe 500 attendees, you know, this year or next turns into 800, 1200. Who knows? The sky's the limit once you're streaming, right? As long as the data centers are able to handle the bandwidth. Your data centers are going to be able to handle our bandwidth, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. And that's where always same thing. I think one of the things we talk about is we're always planning for the future, right? You always got to plan for the future to be able to keep up with the demand, right? So same with our event. We're always trying to think of what's next, what we can implement, and what's going to work, right, for the environment that we want to create.
Well, I'm certainly on board with that. What do you think? Do you think COVID's the end of live events as we know it? Do you think we're never going to be able to get together, catch those concerts we were meant to catch together during South by?
No. Personally, I don't think so. I think there's always going to be a way around. I like to believe that there's always a different option or a different way of doing things, right? We just got to be able to just wait and figure out how we can make those adjustments. But I definitely don't think that this is the end of it. I think it's just the beginning of something new.
All right, folks, you heard it here first. David Isaac, it's not the end. There's always a way. We want to give a shout out to your partner, Kirk. He's always been really stellar to work with. What's up out there, Kirk? And I wanted to thank you one more time for joining us. You're probably already late for your next meeting, but thank you so much. And as soon as we're able, catch a round of golf with you or go see a show as soon as they come back. Okay. Can I get you to commit to that?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me, Norm. You know, it's always a pleasure. Anything, you know, we can ever do, just let us know, and happy to always help the industry on, you know, any other relevant information that we have going on.
Oh, we got lots to talk about. Speaking of which, we're going to head back to Dave at our headquarters and hear some more from the team.
Thanks, Norm. What a way to use your brain to wrap around a problem and then explode out of it. Super inspiring. We hope that these stories have given you a breath, a moment to pause, and think about how you too could branch out and rethink your events. We're here to help. Give us a call to talk strategy or creative thinking, or just to say, where on earth do I start? We're here for you. Next week, we have some even more exciting bits in the works and more music. For now, we hope you enjoyed your Pride celebrations, and remember, enjoy your 4th of July celebrations together but apart. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.